Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event. With your hosts, TB Scouting MMA and
The Guru, back again for UFC Vegas 75. Marvin, the Italian Dream Vettori, taking on Jared, the Killer Gorilla Cannonier in your middleweight main event. But before we can get into that, we got a big, bad guest in the building. And I mean bad as in good. You know what I'm talking about. This boy, man, he's not only slamming picks and cashing tickets, but man, he slams those freaking weights too. Like, I do not want to cross this guy at all. I might not even disagree with him here on the show, you know, because he's right all the time. I don't want to kick my ass. Patrick from Addicted to Combat. Make sure you're subscribed, man. His YouTube channel, Addicted to Combat. Patrick, what the fuck is good, my man?
Yeah, man, the Killer Gorilla, Jared Cannonier stole my nickname. That was my nickname for years. No, I'm just kidding. But good to be here with you guys finally at last. I know I've seen you guys always being super successful, even on the media side of things, really just embedded in the game. And you guys have awesome charisma, so it's a pleasure to be here.
really,
dude, thanks so much. And it takes no pre-workout either, man. This is full. I'm natty, baby.
See, I need pre-workout. I need my Paulo Costa secret juice to even get on here and break down fights all week.
Secret juice. Hey guys, just want to say first off, oh my god, good, I love it. But hey, wanted to say we appreciate all you guys tuning into this live show week in, week out. Appreciate our guest Patrick, and the least you guys can do, check out the link in the description to Patrick Addicted to Combat's YouTube channel. Please subscribe there, and while you're already here, throw us a like on the video. Please subscribe to our channel. It means a lot. We really come out here, best guests, best bets, always free, and we do it for you guys. It's truly a great time. So without spending too much time just asking you to help us out here, let's get down to these fights, baby. We got the middleweight main event. Marvin, the Italian Dream Vettori versus Jared, the Killer Gorilla Cannonier. I'll give them their real nicknames for this fight. It's legit. But, I mean, Marvin, the Meatball Vettori, we got he's going to come in. He's going to have a 1-inch height advantage, but he's giving up 3.5 inches of reach. We got the line at -115 Vettori, -105 Cannonier, over 4.5 all the way out to -210, and under 4.5 at +170. I thought I had a cute idea. By the time DraftKings was dropping these fight go the distance lines, we're getting fucking like -165 out here. It's getting sketchy, folks. Vettori was like -170, -150. All of a sudden we're evens. I had to cash out of my Vettori side just on principle of the line. And I'm gonna reapproach this fight from a different angle. I really just think no matter what happens here, this fight's going the distance. I think we get two high-level middleweights that have had trouble finishing fights recently, and especially against high-level opponents. I think Cannonier does carry the power advantage, whereas Vettori is going to have the volume advantage. But I don't think Cannonier is going to be that far behind. He can keep up the pace if his opponent sets it. So at the end of the day, who's landing the bigger shots? Is Vettori going to use his wrestling? I'll pick Vettori, because I think he has more pass. I'm going to stay off a side at this point. The line movement kind of sketching me out, but give me that fight goes the distance. I really think that you can hammer that home up to -200.
Man, you're really spot on here. That line movement really was fucking weird, man. It was basically, I don't know if you guys watched the line, right as the fights ended last week. You know, Marvin was -145. And you wake up that morning, they're pick 'em. Like, it was universal everywhere, all the books. So usually there's stragglers, people take time to adjust. Very, very interesting. I personally, came into it on Marvin Vettori. I felt that his pace is better. We look at our advanced stats here, and you can see that not only is he landing more strikes per minute at distance, but he attempts a significant amount more. And Jared, specifically with his low pace, allows a lot of opponents to attempt a lot of strikes on him. So I think that's a good recipe for Marvin Vettori, who also showed in his last fight for Stolidze that he's like willing to work in some like just nice chopping leg kicks, like just a little. He almost reminds me of Colby Covington, like with just the pitter patter style, just scoring. So in that respect, I do really like Marvin. Then on the other hand, when you are forced to reevaluate, especially with crazy line movement like that, I felt like, yeah, Jared Cannonier, I mean, you don't have to think he has the power advantage. He absolutely unequivocally does. I mean, you could just look at the knockdown stats right there, 5-1. I mean, it's a significant difference. So, you know, what is going to score here? Is it going to be the damage done by the power of Jared, or is it going to be the cumulative shots of Vettori? And now, not to mention, this is the other caveat. If there's anybody that's going to wrestle here, it has to be Marvin, right? The stats say that. And then you say, oh, well, Marvin hasn't wrestled in his last 2 fights. Yeah, because you can't wrestle Robert Whittaker, and you shouldn't take Roman Dolidze to the ground. So the fact that that option is here, like, why won't he use it? Is he that stupid? Like, he won't use any clinch at all? Like, he won't even push him up against the cage? Marvin Vettori is a guy that had 4 takedowns and 415 seconds of control time, you know, nearly 5 minutes of control time versus Israel Adesanya. That's, you know, that's the champ 2-time. So that has to count for something. So I certainly lean Vettori. Line movement sketched me out of it, but Tibby already nailed it, man. This fight's going the distance because Jared Cannonier doesn't finish anybody, even with his power. He's too tentative. And Marvin has a fucking blockhead like you've never seen. So fight goes the distance. We missed -155 on Bet365. Now it's -170. I guess I'm down for -165 on DraftKings. I'm hoping FanDuel can give me something a little tastier. Patrick, why the fuck haven't we heard from you, man? What do you think?
You guys nailed it. You know, this is a fight where, just like you guys going into it pre-tape, I really thought Vettori was going to be the money line side. He's 10 years younger. Love that. Durable. That's a good counter to the power strikes of Cannonier. He's got a 5-round pace. We've seen him go 5 rounds against a power hitter before, in like Paulo Costa, where he really showed his durability. But both of these guys are also coming off of decision results where, you know, they won their fights, but it's arguable that, you know, it's at least arguable that in a slightly different universe, they lost that fight, right? And I think it's going to be the optics is why I'm not going to actually put my money behind Vettori. I'm going to pick him to win. I think just like you guys nailed it, he's got the takedown, at least threat. If anybody's going to wrestle and mix it up, it would be him. I don't see that going super well for him over long periods of time. Everybody that tries to wrestle Cannonier has trouble with it, even better wrestlers than Vettori. I just feel like Cannonier will be the aggressor the whole time. And optically in the apex cage, the guy hits so hard, I think it's going to be audible strikes on the brick head of Marvin Vettori. Even if the judge is like, you know, on Tinder or something, you know, he's gonna hear the leather look up and see the killer gorilla stalking forward and landed those strikes. Just like the Strickland fight, dude. Like, he's able to put up numbers for an explosive guy. He's still in round 5 of his last fight with Strickland. That was his highest scoring round, strike for strike. So cardio is on point for both guys. Durability is on point. It's 50-50. And even with that 10-year age advantage, man, I just don't want to get behind this one where I got to play the judge's game, right? Like, I think Vettori probably scores more strikes, but Cannonier is probably going to land harder and be stalking forward. So super low confidence pick on Vettori here. I liked that over 4.5, and I had that written down at -150 to possibly bet it. Waited too long. It's -200 now, -210. It's going to be a pass for me on this fight, boys.
How would you like to play fight to be split decision at +500?
That I could get on board with. You know, it's always a little bit sketchier. Like, if this is a 3-round fight all day long, I mean, you could put a fat bet on that. But 5 rounds, it usually fleshes itself out more decisively. But still, I think it's super live here.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah, I think ultimately in a fight that could play out close either way, why sweat aside when you can just sweat that the meathead Marvin Vettori is going to keep up that 0 knocked down streak and keep his pillow fist. I mean, this isn't Jack Hermanson, so hoping you know, Jared and Marvin find their way to 5 rounds, and I'll be a happy guy.
Yeah, I mean, what do they do next though? Like, both guys have lost to Adesanya, both guys have lost to Whittaker. Is this like this is like the number 2 contender fight here? Like, who gets to fight Whittaker next? You know,
Bring around the Rosie.
Yeah,
and then but Whittaker obviously has to beat Duplessis.
Yeah, absolutely. The Nigerian nightmare, Dricus Duplessis.
Oh my God.
Maybe they get Abis Magomedov or Ikram Aliskerov after they if
right.
one of them can win. You know, that would be like their
I like him
gatekeeping
to
of the
beat
top
Paulo
five.
Costa. Paulo Costa hasn't fought anybody.
Oh, geez.
You don't think
All
so?
right.
Paulo Costa is like my favorite current fighter, dude. He's gonna steamroll. He's gonna be the next champion.
Oh my God, really?
Absolutely. No, I don't know what his ceiling is. The guy is just he's so weird and quirky that I love him.
He's
Right now,
so
he's my
funny.
current,
Oh,
he's
I
my
love
current favorite fighter on the roster.
That's a great favorite fighter to have. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I do love it.
A1 personality. A1.
I just like when he just straight up told Vettori, he's like, it's just weight. What's the issue? 185, 225. What's the difference? It's just weight.
That's your problem. That's your problem.
Both these guys have had
amazing. TB was like we were watching right then. I used to show you all the interviews. You were like, "Fuck this shit." It was so funny. Back in the day.
Well, I think two of the things that set out for me in like fight week lead up, both for these guys have shown their funny sides, but not necessarily intentionally. One, Vettori wears his Venom shorts backwards in the photos, and then two, Jared Cannonier is like about to fist fight a little girl, and like one of those like follow around interviews when he's in a school saying like, "Yeah, I'm the best fighter." And she's like, "I don't think yours." Like, "Yes, I am." It's like, "Oh my God, like Jared, you need to chill, bro." So I think both these guys lack a little.
Doesn't he like crystals too? Isn't he like a crystal bro?
Yeah, it's interesting. So, I mean, would I want either of these guys to necessarily be my best friend? Probably not. But it should be a fun fight. I really do think that we'll have a good main event here. But hey, we're on to our lightweight co-main event. Who sanctioned this fight, by the way? I guess Joaquim Silva, Neto BJJ is the only guy that would step up and face Arman Tsarukyan. Ahal Kalakets. I mean, did I do that right? Is that his nickname? Oh my goodness. Geez. So it's what, minus 1060 Tsarukyan, plus 700 Neto BJJ. I mean, we've seen Joaquim Silva get knocked out by Ricky Glenn in the first round, by Nasrat in the second round. He does go the distance with Vince Pichel, but I mean, who does Vince Pichel really finish? So I can't really put that up as like an accomplishment of any sort. He does knock out Jesse Ronson once again. I mean, listen, I just think that Neto BJJ, obviously, I'm not going and throwing Tsarukyan in my parlay. I'm just going to pick him. Find a way to, I mean, is there a way to fade the nerve in this fight over 1.5 at plus 125? Does he have enough BJJ to, I mean, Tsarukyan, is he going to just knock him out on the feet? He's been knocked down 4 times, Joaquim Silva. He's been, finished plenty. He's got a lot of submission attempts, but I mean, what do you think here, Guru? The pick is Tsarukyan. I just don't know if I have a bet.
Yeah, I mean, Arman Tsarukyan has just been so dominant throughout his. I mean, even the fight he lost to Gamrot, right? The fight he lost to Gamrot, right? I still think that majority of people still feel that he eked that one out and he did win that. I just Arman to just taking a fight just to stay active. I really, really fucking respect it. And you also have to, on the same token, respect Joaquim Silva for taking the fight that literally nobody wants to take. That being said, where he took a fight in October versus Jesse Ronson, it's like nearly October now. Where the fuck have you been, dog? Like, it's been 7 months and you knocked him out with a flying knee in round 2. You're 34 years old, right? I'm just not sure what he's doing right now. The loss to Ricky Glenn was really poor. Getting clipped by Nasrat is relatively understandable, but still not great. And by the way, where's Nasrat been? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what happened to that guy? He like fell off the map.
Yeah,
I feel like there's always a lull between that guy fighting.
Yeah, really weird. And he had a fight book versus Jamie Malarkey in February. Anyway, yeah, I like Arman here. You're making good points. I'm curious if there is a way to bet it. Like, yeah, they really have him smoking him early too. If there's any chance, there's just probably no way to hedge it. There's just no way to fucking know. The truth is, it's up to Arman. It's totally up to Arman. If he wants to go apeshit at this guy, he's going to. And if he wants to, be a little bit more cautious and you take him down and just work a couple things that he's probably been working on and then get the guy out of there because he's trying to be healthy for October. Yeah, Armin Tsarukyan. Right, probably if we can get like a round 1, round 2 on FanDuel, I like those general round grouping type props in this type of situation. But it's still going to be probably like minus 400. So I mean, you want to parlay that out? Go ahead, but tough. What's an Armin round 1 prop in general?
Let's see here. Armin round. I was just looking at him. Armin round 1 KO. Oh my God, plus 120. I think it's going to be round 2. I think it's going to stretch out a bit. I think that Armin Tsarukyan definitely should be the guy who's more scared of slipping up on this spot. Like what does Joaquim Silva have to lose here? Really, he's like a bottom of the division guy. Tsarukyan's the guy who's got to worry about like starting too fast and slipping out a banana peel here. I like him by KO at minus 125. I haven't put the bet in on that yet, but I'm not sure. Maybe help me out. Am I blinded by the fact that it's a minus 1,100 favorites and I'm just chopping it down and paying slight chalk? Like it feels like that, but I don't know. It feels like Joaquim Silva is more on the level of a guy like, not stylistically, but like a Christos Giagos or somebody like that Armin could put out by strikes. And that leaves the opportunity for him to get the ground and pound stoppage too. Slice him up with those elbows and dominate him there. Like I just don't see him taking this 2 decision. And I think it would be a knockout. It would be something simple like a ground and pound, or he drops him and pounds him out on the ground. It's just a matter of when for Armin Tsarukyan. But he could. I don't know if it's going to be round 1 though, because he might want to, stay measured, get his reads.
Let's just be real though. If you need a value shot on this fight, if you're looking for a way to hedge it, you have to take Armin Tsarukyan by decision, because he's been in decisions in 6 of his last 8 fights went to decision, and you can get Armin Tsarukyan by decision at plus 330. It's just too pricey. And even if it's not tracked, like even if you're doing grandma's couch cushion, like if you're just playing that for fun, you have to. The value is there. It forces my hand. Do I think it's going to decision? No, the books don't think so. He's a minus 1,000 favorite. He should steamroll him. But if he can just kind of lays on top of him, if he just wrestle fucks him.
What about the over 1.5? You think that's?
I kind of I like at least a thought on again, like you're really just trying to make something happen in this fight. And
I'm done. I got it.
Oh,
I got it. Fights to start round 2 minus 105. I'm fucking in. Let's go.
Oh.
I'm in. You don't have you save a half a round. You only lose what? 30 points.
My guess is FanDuel's going to have a better line, my friend.
Find it. Let me know.
Yeah, the more we're looking around, the longer we think about this, the more I'm just passing on it. But I do like that spot. Fight starts round 2 because I think that it could be a Tsarukyan, making sure he doesn't slip up and rush anything. Probably hurts him. Probably hurts him at the end of round 1, and then he gets saved by the buzzer. Armin's got to finish him in round 2, something like that.
Yeah, I like that. And ultimately, you're just taking a 50-50 shot because Armin Tsarukyan, the only guy in the UFC that he's finished in round 1 was Christos Giagos.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Christos Giagos.
Even Alvarez was like, he split him open so badly that kind of did lead to the finish in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
The guy was like being waterboarded by his own blood at that point.
Oh my God. That's a pretty great way to put it.
Although nobody got waterboarded more than Paulo Costa from Luke Rockhold with the blood in his face.
That's it.
Oh wait, so sorry to digress, but I just realized on FanDuel the fight going the distance line on the main event is minus 156. It's nice. Right, and it's minus 165 on DK and minus 170 on 365. So I can't imagine you're going to get a better line, and I'd also imagine that they're going to correct it. So if you want it now,
because it was around like minus 130 in a lot of books, and now they did bump it up a bit. But
are you an offshore guy?
What's the extra 2.5?
Are you an offshore guy? Do you get action out there? Is that how you check most of your? Yeah. We don't have crypto. We don't have crypto or anything. So we literally we're all
like, boys, start mining some Bitcoin. What's up?
I don't know much. I don't know shit about it.
I don't either, but I have it. I don't know what it is.
That's fucking hysterical.
I know how to gamble with it.
I guess that's all you need. That's really funny. Maybe I'll pick your brain about it. That's really funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think this is the part of the show. This is my favorite part every week when we go from Armin to Armin.
That's
Armin
ridiculous. That's
Tsarukyan.
so funny. I didn't even
Uh,
realize that. What a name.
yeah, not bad,
What a
right? Well,
guy.
we got the Superman, a much better nickname from this Armin. He's already winning in that department. No, just kidding. So Armin Petrosyan, Superman versus Christian Leroy Duncan, CLD. Hoping to get some CLV on this fight. I don't know, probably not. I haven't been looking at it like that. Just had to take my opportunity. We got plus 125 Petrosyan,
Chill.
minus 145 Leroy.
You're actually not wrong though.
Yeah, right. Over 2.5 at minus 125, under 2.5 at minus 105. Guru's going to tell you about all of his CLV at some point, but right now we got to have a little conversation because Petrosyan is going to be 6'3", so he's got a 1-inch height advantage. Mr. T-Rex over here, he's got hot dog arms. He's got fucking an 8-inch reach disadvantage. Kind of sketchy. I don't have a leg reach value on Christian Leroy Duncan. However, I'm hoping that Petrosyan's at least got some sort of ability to match the leg reach of Leroy, given that he's taller, right? He's got to make it up somewhere. If it's not in the arms, it's got to be the legs, right? So Petrosyan, he uses that to his advantage. He's got a lot of volume, a lot of leg kicks, body kicks, head kicks. He will throw some punches when he gets in the pocket, but he does know his advantages at least and disadvantages. And I think Petrosyan, the hope here is the higher level of kickboxing. He should be able to get out of the bad clinch or takedown situations as an underdog if you're playing Petrosyan. Christian Leroy Duncan, the way he wins this fight is with his power, with the ability to kind of stay safe by having his own threat, being very big, athletic, strong. He does have a lot of experience in amateur MMA, so this is a guy that definitely got brought into the UFC, to be promoted and back. I think Petrosyan, though, is someone that I've seen at a high volume. I saw him get knocked out one time on the regional scene bad, but I think he's got the ability to put up a good fight here. I'm leaning the dog at plus 125. I'm going to put a little play on it, but I'd like to make sure that'll be my official pick, but I'm going to take a dog shot on it. That's for sure.
I mean, if you're taking Chris Leroy Duncan, you have to go for the snipe. And what I mean by that is you have to play him by KO round 1 or KO round 2. And that's it. You have to do it that way. But I'm not sure that he finds the chin that easily because let's just call a spade a spade. What did we learn about him in his debut? Nothing. He's the same fighter we saw on Cage Warriors. So I don't know that he's that much better per se, because when you watch his last Cage Warriors fight, he loses round 1. The guy's gassed, and he finishes him with a flying knee. Or he's got the spinning elbow. Oh, the flying knees in the other fight. Oh, that's the fight. It's 2 fights ago. Yeah, the dude gasses by round 3, and then he hits him with a flying knee, and then he goes out, and that's how he wins the Cage Warriors title, and then he defends it. I'm just not super sold on how he fights because he's obviously he's a good technical striker and he's really strong and he puts people out, but he is plotting and he's susceptible to the calf kick and he's got poor takedown defense. Not that that's coming into play in this fight per se, but I'm just not. He just kind of frames off for striking defense, and I'm not really sure that he's the guy that uses his range to his advantage always, because again he's crashing forward and he wants to be in this close death range. That's not necessarily using your reach to your advantage, where I think Petrosyan could be a guy that's moving a lot and he's using a ton of kicks, so he's just going to keep kicking him and move and he's a K1 kickboxer, Muay Thai back this. He's gonna be very, very experienced in this area. And to get to my point, I got him at plus 145 for a unit. So I'm in at plus 145. We'll see where it goes. I'll at least take the CLV. And I have plenty of CLV tickets sitting in the trash. But we did cash a couple last week. So hoping to keep that streak going. So Patrick, please.
Breaking it here, man. I'm disagreeing. I got money on Christian Leroy Duncan. I'm pretty impressed with him, especially his pro career fights too, because you can see a lot of those since he was in the IMMAF, which is the really high level amateur scene, and he had a ton of fights there. Got some of those losses in early, and this is actually to go with your guys' point here. This is one of the first guys in Armen Petrosyan as a pro that's a fellow striker to Christian Leroy Duncan. He's been facing a lot of guys that are more grappler, wrestler types that don't want to stand with him. He's made him look pretty foolish, and both guys have pretty good scramble ability. Petrosyan is like a cat. I do like that about him. He's always on his feet, even when he gets taken down. If somebody's going to mix it up with the grappling, it would be Leroy Duncan. He's done it before, and he does have some decent offensive takedowns. You don't see it that often, but he does have that one sub where he dumped a guy and then jumped on his back at the choke. But I just think the dynamic striking weapons for Duncan are really high level, good out of both stances. And Petrosyan's a guy who does like to accept being on his back foot, skirting on the outside of the cage. And with a guy that's like ambidextrous like Duncan, he's going to be able to set up a lot of traps that way, trap him against the cage, throw a left high kick to get Armen to circle right into the nice right hook power hand, things like that. I just feel like there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Duncan to hit him with something really diverse that Petrosyan's not going to be able to match, So what I would have an issue with, though, is the volume of Petrosyan is super good. He'll probably be throwing more, landing more. Duncan can get caught waiting for that big moment, so that does worry me a bit. But give me Duncan here. I'm backing his potential. And what are we at now? 2-1 in the UFC for Petrosyan. He stole that one over RoboCop, man. He stole that. That's one of my other favorite fighters, RoboCop Rodriguez. Broke my heart in that fight. Broke my heart when he got knocked out in his last one as well. But still, pretty high-level guy. Got to give that to Petrosyan. He could at least hang with RoboCop, but still, what else? The last one against AJ Dobson, a guy who just was so gun-shy and had those octagon jitters, man. Petrosyan just did busy work on him the whole time. Wasn't too impressed with it. So give me Duncan. I think you're right, like a second round or late first round knockout, but I could see him winning a decision.
You really could?
Yeah, I could see him winning a decision.
He's got one decision win on his career, and it's a guy that he had fought for a second time.
It depends. It depends how tough Petrosyan is. Like, we've seen him chinned before.
He's so tough. But he fought your boy RoboCop. He's tough as nails. He's tough as nails. You have to put. I think he really proved it. And the
thing with Duncan, it's always the punch you don't see coming that puts you out. And he's got all that diverse, flashy striking. Right. Something like that could just blindside him.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. Because the line that I was super interested in this fight as well, other than the dog money line the price I had, I was honestly thinking like the money line decision only. I thought they were gonna juice that up. It's only minus 135 for Petrosyan. So obviously if there's a finish, because I really don't necessarily think Petrosyan gets the finish, minus 135 by decision.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. Because like I said, he could put up the volume and cash that ticket for you guys for sure. But me, I got minus, what do I have here? Minus 145 on Duncan. It came down for minus 170. That was nice. 2-unit shot on it, but I got 6 other money lines on this card. I'm going heavy on the money lines this week, so we'll wind up on something. And I like when a couple of buddies of mine are on opposite sides, because the money's going to a good cause one way or another, man.
Hey, gotta love. And I will say, I actually am interested here in the plus 100 fight goes the distance on DraftKings.
Interesting.
I think Petrosyan's entire win equity in the UFC, as we've seen, and losing equity in the UFC, as we've seen, has been by decision.
Agreed.
And, on the regional scene, I see him get iced. It's in the pocket. He's throwing naked, throwing heavy. I haven't seen those same type of defensive tendencies from him in the UFC. It seems like he kind of learned from, hey, guess what? I am not invincible. I can't just stand in the pocket like that. He seems like his defensive, the 60% defense, the fact that his opponents land at like 1/3 of the level of distance that he does from a volume standpoint, I can trust him. So I actually like this fight goes the distance plus 100. I think Duncan by decision. That could be ending up what my official Tapology pick is, but I will take a little shot on Petrosyan, little shot on fight goes the distance. So you can book it. Duncan first round knockout as TV cries his way home.
You're wild. That's funny as fuck.
Hell yeah. So hey, you guys good on that one? We rolling along?
Yeah, man. Fun fight.
Beautiful. Good one. Man, we got another good one here. We got Pat Sabatini versus Lucas Almeida. Do we have official nicknames, Guru? Because I don't see them in here.
don't believe either of them have.
I hope that Pat Sabatini's
I
not
might be
playing
wrong.
patty cake on the feet here because he could get in trouble. Lucas Almeida, he's serious, but at the same time, Lucas Almeida better not let Pat Sabatini get in on his hips, or he could very well be in trouble. I think
No
it's a very
nicknames.
binary fight. No, yeah. So we got patty cakes and the alley cat. I like that.
What?
Nice.
That's horrible.
Lucas Almeida, alley cat. Let's get it.
Good
It's,
Lord.
instead of Willie Cat, he fought the other week, so now we got the alley cat. I'm doing my best out here.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
He doesn't hate it. So if Patty Cakes goes at it and starts playing from distance like he does against Damon Jackson, like he does against Jamal Emmers, before he got the submission, guess who was getting rocked and knocked all over the place. But we got minus 200, Pat Sabatini. Man, I'm a little sketched on a money line perspective there. And then you got plus 170 Almeida. The line keeps sliding in the other direction. I get it. On the regional tape, I see Almeida being controlled. I see him being taken down by a guy that he basically 10-8'd in the first round and stuffs all his takedowns. All of a sudden, it's round 2, and Almeida's the one getting washed around, having to get like these cheap reversals that you're not getting those reversals on Pat Sabatini. So if Almeida's going to let that happen, I could see this fight going the distance like a Pat Sabatini decision. I think Almeida's defensive grappling and his height and reach advantage are going to give him the ability to stay safe and guard and not be finished if this fight does go to the map. I think there's a very clear path for him losing. But at plus 170, if this fight's on the feet, I think an Almeida by knockout prop, I think that's something that I would say like Almeida by finish only and Sabatini kind of by decision only if I was to have like some plays on this fight here. So finish only Almeida plus 110, decision only, Sabatini's minus 450. But if you go to the winning methods, at least Sabatini by decisions plus 180. I mean, for a minus 200, that's kind of his path.
Yeah, no, I think that's an interesting point. How could you not be concerned about Pat Sabatini's chin? I mean,
I'm concerned. I brought it up.
He got shellacked by Damon Jackson, and that was a problem. And he's been rocked in the past. That was all over the tape. It's just a tough fight. I don't really want to lay minus 200 on him. That being said, Lucas Almeida knocked out Trezano round 3. Trezano, tough as nails type of fighter, man. You really gotta put him down, and he did. You do wonder though, is he gonna have enough time on the feet? Because Pat, he's gonna get it straight to the fucking ground, man. He's not gonna play around. And if Almeida can't get up or put him or really hurt him and take him out, I think he's going to be in for a long night. You're right. His jiu-jitsu probably is good enough to keep himself from getting submitted, but I'm not sure. Sabatini's a crafty grappler, man. You saw what he did to Jamal Emmers. I mean, he tore that dude's knee up, and how good is Jamal Emmers actually, right? Like somebody who came out and won his last fight as a big underdog. So certainly interested to see this fight. I always like Pat Sabatini. I'm a CFFC guy, Philly guy. So let's see what it does. But Almeida plus 170, man. That you wanted me to plan at plus 150, and I was like, let's hold out and see. And you saw the line get wider, and I'm surprised by it though. Bigger guy, way more fight pace. It's really just is packing to get it to the ground. And I'll say one more thing. Let us be real. The small cage works in Pat's favor. So I think that's an important point.
That's a problem. Yeah, it's a problem, man. I don't have a real good technical analysis of this fight. I think it is pretty black and white, like you guys mentioned. Sabatini, really strong wrestling, and he doesn't leave a lot of room for his opponents to get up. He's okay with not chasing subs and just holding position. But yeah, that striking is a problem, man. Like his striking is just not there. Lucas Almeida looks really aggressive. He's got power in all rounds of the fight. Sabatini, I think he is pretty chinny, and he doesn't even throw straight strikes to like have defense. Like it's always a looping hook, just trying to get in range and grab a hold of you and drag it to the mat, which could happen here. Minus 200, it's a lot to ask for a guy that's that one-dimensional, but it's a strong dimension. I'm betting on Lucas Almeida. I could have gotten a better price. I did plus 160 at 3/4 of a unit. That's about all I want to have on this fight, and it's just solely because I just have like a vision of him knocking Pat Sabatini out. I don't usually bet this way. I mean, it's easier when it's an underdog, but I just had a hunch that the chin's going to get exposed of Sabatini. We're going to see a quick counter to those takedowns, either a knee or a big uppercut or something like that. That's going to wobble him early. So hopefully Lucas can keep this on the feet. It's going to start every round on the feet. He does have a BJJ black belt. Hopefully can at least stave off the submission attempts and maybe scramble back to his feet. His cage defensive takedowns against the cage have improved. I've seen since his pre-UFC tape. He looks pretty good there. We saw some of that against Trezano. But yeah, Lucas Almeida, super athletic, man. I think he gets the knockout. I think it's pretty early in this fight. So not a lot of investment, not a whole lot of confidence. I could see Pat Sabatini. It's probably dog or pass for me, but I probably will be screaming at my TV as Pat Sabatini takes him down round after round. So we'll see here. Just a hunch she knocks him out. What's the knockout? The knockout's like plus 325 on DraftKings for Almeida.
The knockout. Oh, you took it out of my mouth, baby. Plus 350.
Plus 350.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it, I mean, Almeida knockout plus 350, Sabatini decision plus 180. I'm so confused by submissions.
No. We don't play plus 350 around here. You know what we play around here? Plus 420, baby. Plus 420 on FanDuel. Almeida by knockout.
That's good.
And what's the Pat decision there?
Plus 200.
Ooh, so better value all around on the props.
Always. FanDuel almost always has that.
Use multiple outs. And yeah, I appreciate
we always recommend multiple books. Can't say it enough.
And
check that out. That sounds nice. I might add that because I left it at just 0.75 units on the underdog, the money line. I was having the goal of putting the extra quarter unit by knockout when some of these books were dropping big fat plus money.
So you think Almeida puts him out?
I think Almeida puts him out. It's just a hunch. Obviously the clearer path is Sabatini just grounding him here. Usually that's how these things play out. But I don't know. I just got a feeling about Lucas Almeida, man. That's just I had to go with it this week.
He's dangerous. And you thought after the Daniel Zellhuber Dana White Contender Series fight, you're like, oh, Zellhuber, he's so good. Oh, I get that fight was a barn burner. I guess I understand it. That loss is horrible in hindsight. Zellhuber is booty cheeks. And you saw he had another chance for his groovy Lando Venata, and he's still booty cheeks, my guy. So just not a loss that's aged well. And at 32, he feels like a prospect, but he isn't one.
It depends if he mentally breaks. So what I do like about Almeida is he got dropped by Trezano, came back in there in the later part of that round, and the second round as well, and put a beating on him. So the fact that maybe if Pat Sabatini grounds him in round one, he won't be totally mentally defeated or drained come round two. He'll still have a chance to get that job done when it's standing. So I do like that comeback ability, that battle through adversity attribute. I do like that.
The dogs are barking.
Dogs are barking.
That's a sign. I mean, Bogey's out here in the background just laying it up. All right. Well, anywho, let's
I like it, man. I think you're giving me a little bit of confidence to pull that trigger.
Beautiful. Love it. And Anthony's going to
We're going to be screaming at our TV, man, as soon as he gets taken down 30 seconds in.
Yeah, facts.
Butterfly. Get up. Hey, just want to give a shout out. You guys in the live chat, you're amazing. The least I hope you do for us, please throw a like on the video while you're in here now. We appreciate you guys so much. Please subscribe to the channel if you somehow haven't already.
Very important.
Go down in the description. Patrick's, I got the link to Addicted to Combat. Make sure you give him a follow over there too. Awesome guy. We'll be on his show coming up. Hope we didn't spoil the surprise, but can't wait.
Next week, we're doing a back-to-back week double feature, man. It's going to be fun.
UFC Jacksonville going to be unbelievable.
Whoa, Jackson, like Pat over there? Jackson, like Jax, baby. Oh my God, it's perfect.
Yo, you're crazy.
Yes.
All right. Anyways, oh my God, that's crazy that you said that. Manuel El Loco Torres versus Nicholas Iron Motta. Wow. Yeah, that was a pretty good lead up there, Guru. The crazy.
I do my thing, you know what I'm saying?
You know what El Loco means?
It means you're crazy.
Yeah, there you go. Good job. Proud of you. So we
I
got
took Spanglish.
Lightweight banger alert. We got a couple guys with a couple fights, and all said fights for all these guys have ended by knockout in the UFC. Does the trend continue? Manuel Torres, his only losses in his career by submission. We got Manuel Torres here, minus 180. Nicholas Motta, plus 155. The over 1.5 at plus 135. Under 1.5 at minus 165. So the odds makers are seeing what we're seeing. This thing should just be a fucking banger when it goes down. I think Manuel Torres is someone that's got absolutely zero striking defense from a technical standpoint. He might try to like do a little head movement, but hands are never up, and he's generally coming forward and swinging heavy. Relies on that big old chin make things happen in the pocket. But Nicholas Motta, we've seen his chin cracked on multiple occasions. And on top of that, in his debut against Jim Miller, his only losses in his career, 3 by knockout and a couple by sub, it looks like. So, I mean, Nicholas Motta, it's very hard to trust him to go the distance in any of his fights. He has won 4 by decision, but I think Torres just brings a pace that doesn't let you really do anything besides, see a finish either way. Torres seems, pretty solidly adept at getting a submission. If he knocks you down too, he's got multiple ways of going about it. So I wouldn't even be comfortable playing like a Torres knockout or anything like that. I don't feel comfortable playing a side. These guys are going to throw down in the pocket. I don't feel comfortable with under 1.5 at minus 165 either. I think it's a bit juiced for an under 1.5. I mean, geez, I just come out of here not really thinking I can even play this fight. Nicholas Motta at plus 155, sure. He seems to be the better counter striker, a guy who does well to be a little bit more patient in his approach. How am I supposed to trust a guy that got knocked out by Jim Miller to withstand, El Loco out here? But how could you trust El Loco at minus 180? The guy's got crazy in his name.
Say it. Say it, TB. Say it. In this economy.
How can you trust Manuel Torres?
No,
minus 180. But that doesn't mean I'm going to bet Nicholas Motta at plus 155.
No, you can't.
What's fight to end by knockout?
Well, that's interesting.
That's the only thing that I've interested in.
I was just about to look that up on
minus 175 on DraftKings.
Ooh, I mean, I like that better than I do taking Manuel Torres at minus 180.
No, well, so again, this is what
you could sub him. You think?
No, chill.
Okay.
This is. I think that relax. Let me walk you through this one. I think what you have to do, and I'm starting to learn this a little bit more from like guys like, Blue and Narco Cop, like with their just Lambo plays and just kind of really just being crystal ball guys. Sometimes you just gotta fucking dig in deep in the bag, and you just gotta go for it. Manuel Torres, round 1 knockout, plus 225. You take the grandma's couch cushion on that because there's a damn good chance of it. And then maybe you go even a little bit crazier. You go like a Nicholas Motta round 2 knockout because maybe you think that he'll finish him if he's going to get the finish because he's got heavy hands. Maybe Manuel Torres has got to gas out first. It's a small cage. Somebody's probably going to get clipped. You can't trust either guy to do, like you said, we don't know shit about Manuel Torres. Knocking out Frank Camacho doesn't mean fucking anything to me. And where have you been? They tried to spoon feed him Trey Ogden. I don't know what happened there. Torres withdrew. Why?
It's like a weight cutting thing, wasn't it? Like day of, I want to say.
Oh, was it? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
I forgot.
I want to say it was either that or you just always assume day of. It's a weight.
It says medical issues. Yeah. I'd have to look it up. I'd have to Google it to take a minute. But yeah, that you know what I'm saying? Like that's a concern. So no, I'm not playing this guy minus 180 here. But small cage especially, I don't think it gives us an opportunity to like fight goes the distance type. Like we'll fade the net. Like no way. I'm not even convinced on an over 1.5, honestly. If they do a Johnny Walker, Anthony Smith fucking bullshit, fucking not finishing nobody, we're gonna we'll have a problem. I really do think somebody goes to sleep.
Yeah, I can't help but agree with that, man. That's the assessment. I think that's my favorite. If I had to bet it, I don't like the price, but fight ends in knockout. Dude, I like both guys. I'm big on. I'm probably higher on Nicholas Motta than a lot of people. I probably because maybe biased. I cashed in him on the Contender Series 3 years ago or whatever. He looked pretty good against Joel Lowry. But you got to admit, Nicholas Motta, he's so technically sound. He's got like really good Muay Thai, nice vicious hooks up close, but he's just super low volume. But this will be a good fight for him because the fight is going to be brought directly to him at close range. Miguel Torres is super aggressive, throws a lot. He does have a nice tight guillotine as well when he goes into that realm. So possibly a club and sub is live, but there's still so many question marks with Manuel Torres. Like, can this guy operate past 1 round? Since 14 out of his 15 fights have ended in round 1, that's still on the table. Like, he throws 100% into every strike. So you got to think that he can't carry that pace, over 2-3 rounds. But I don't know for sure. His durability, he's walked through a lot of punishment before, but not against high level competition. So that's a question mark as well. I'm going to side with Torres as a pick just because I think he will do more. And if that shot in return from Nicholas Motta never comes, then he's going to lose the fight based on volume or just get knocked out. But Motta, man, there's a really good possibility Motta just lands the perfect 2-3 counter and puts Manuel Torres out for the first time. So, give me Manuel Torres. No money on this fight, man. I think this could be closer to a pick'em.
Yeah. I think just because, like you're talking about, just the general volatility, or maybe Manuel Torres like minus 140. But if Manuel Torres was such a lock to knock him out, why isn't he minus 600? You know what I mean? Like, it's not, because he's not. There's way too many question marks.
And we're looking at the fight ends in KO is the same price as the under 1.5, damn near, right? Like, how, if we saw this going under 1.5, how would we see that playing out? Probably by knockout. So maybe you can extend that.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that gives you a little bit of an extension.
Yeah. No, I agree. You really can't. You can't hate it, because these chinny and explosive, both of them, power in there.
It's gonna be fun though, man. I like both guys, and it's gonna be interesting. And now in a fight like this, where a guy does have so many fight ends in round 1, you almost want to see him like get extended, because you want to learn something for next time. If he goes in there and blitzes him and knocks him out in round 1, now we're in the same boat next time he fights, right? We're like, what do we do with this guy?
100%. It's a great question, but I think I'm really excited to watch this one. I really hope that I do stick to my guns here, and if I place anything, that it's that the fight ends by knockout. But other than that, enjoy the fireworks, baby.
What about my snipe, baby? What about my snipe?
Your snipage wasn't too bad. We could. That's like the classic. What we've done better is like, you throw like a $2 here, a $3 there before the fight starts, and then when you're wrong, your shit happens.
Maybe we hit Mike Malott round 2 plus 500 last week. Come on,
nice, right. Good hit. Wait, DraftKings does have some plays out for these. Do we have a round 2, round 3 for? We got released.
Yeah, we do. They do. They do have those on DraftKings, which is awesome.
Let's see here, real quick. Motta round 2. Do we have something for that?
Yeah, Motta round. Oh, like not just round 2 specific.
Round 2 or round 2 KO.
Motta round 2 is plus 800. It's without picking a method. Motta round 2 KO is plus 850.
Yeah, and round 3 plus 16. Yeah, I mean, even if you get the combination on FanDuel or the same game parlay combo, if it pays out on DraftKings, that might not be a bad way to. If you're just feeling frisky, you want to gamble. You could bank on Manuel Torres maybe slowing down in those later rounds.
We talk it going into grandma's couch cushion. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's gonna notice that the money's gone. Just a little quarter, a little penny that hangs out underneath there.
I assume that's what you're talking about. I was hoping it was dirtier than that.
Oh, it's oh my goodness,
my word.
That's funny. I like that. We do get dirty over here. So,
oh man, I appreciate all you guys. We'll keep it rolling here. We got,
speaking of dirty fights, I gotta be honest. Nicholas Dalby is just one of those guys that I've just never enjoyed ever at all. Maybe he's a nice bloke, but he's just not for me.
Jeez, wow, we're getting spicy here. This is like Danny Roberts, Dwight Grant level of guru.
Clip that and tag him. Let's start some controversy.
Yeah, let's
what's up, baby.
Let's get a complete jerk off.
Yeah, my God.
Oh my God.
So we got Nicholas Dalby, Danish Dynamite. Wow.
Did you say Danish?
Danish Dynamite.
Danish? Definitely not Danish, but it's okay.
Right. And then Muslim Salikhov, the what is it? The Kung Fu the King of Kung Fu?
The King of Kung Fu. I'm updating it in our thing.
The King of Kung Fu. Love it. Yeah, I'm definitely a big Muslim Salikhov fan from a technical standpoint. I think Nicholas Dalby is going to be reliant on stupid, like
Clinch.
forward pressure, volume, and clinching. And I think that Salikhov is actually pretty solid in those aspects of his game. I think the places I would be most worried is if he was facing someone that was a high level wrestler and at a high level of jiu-jitsu. Sketchy enough in his first fight, he gets taken down, he gets subbed round 2 by Garcia. He immediately starts training his jiu-jitsu. He gets his blue belt. He's someone that will work on his deficiencies, but I don't think Nicholas Dalby is necessarily a dangerous finishing threat by any stretch of the imagination. He's never finished a fight in the UFC, and nor has he been finished. But the Jesse Ronson memory lives strong in my mind, I will say. And Muslim Salikhov is just good enough and technical enough, and Dalby is just dumb enough to be running forward the whole time that Salikhov might just be able to find that counter. And I think the plus 200 on knockout for him is a little bit undervalued since they're giving the decision at plus 180.
Jesse Ronson did it.
I'm just saying. So
Jesse Ronson did it. I mean, he subbed him, but he clipped him first.
But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you shouldn't be playing Muslim Salikhov, the Kung Fu low volume master at minus 190 in this economy. So find a prop you like. And one of the other ones that I can offer to you in my immense levels of consideration would be Muslim Salikhov in over 1.5, minus 105 DraftKings.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I think that's solid as fuck. You get the minus 190, and even if it does go to decision, you're not relying on the knockout. He gets a knockout as the fight goes on because Dalby's an idiot. Great. Give me a yes. Thank you, Ghost Phantom. One of the best guys as far as technical stuff, by the way, if you follow on Twitter, one of the great contributors to the community. Always in Dan Tom's chat. And I don't even know, Ghost, you don't even bet, right? But you're out here with these technical breakdowns and exactly shoulder feint and retreat. That's the reason he's so low volume, is that he's trying to pull you into his counters.
Yeah.
Dalby loves just running in stupid with those. Thank you, Ghost. Appreciate it.
And you see it all over the stats, which is kind of where my handicap comes in on this fight. Look at Dalby's striking accuracy. He's throwing at a 33% accuracy, which is like, fucking, that's really, really poor. And you look at Muslim Salikhov's distance defense at 69%, nearly 70%, and he spends 85% of his time there. That means this guy is really fucking good at making people miss and just being generally defensive. And when you look at his volume, you're like, damn, I wish he could throw more, but people are not really throwing as much on him. He's not absorbing that much. He's absorbing 2 strikes a minute. Like, he's still, even at his low volume, he's outpacing you because you're worried about the counters. And he's really that fucking slick. I'm interested if I kind of starting to feel like Dalby may have the speed advantage, which could be kind of interesting. And I don't really like Dalby because he's fucking boring as shit. And like you say, kind of marches forward stupidly and then will just kind of hold you in the clinch. And he's not even necessarily that great at it, as his opponents control him more than he actually gets control. I feel like you kind of had a smart one on the last fight. So let me give the people one here. I think if you had to go, I don't like it anymore. I like, because I was gonna say the decision only on Dalby, but Muslim really could win a decision too, because he is low volume. I don't know. I think he gets clipped at some point. Or maybe I just like to think that. I like Muslim to get it done, even in this economy. I have to take it, but God, if it goes to the decision, I will be sweating that ticket, and I already know it.
Yeah, I think it might, man. And it's what a weird matchup too. We've got a karate fighter that's a Danish guy, and we've got a Dagestani that's the king of kung fu, spinning around and shit, like 40 years old. So a battle between 2 old strikers. What can go wrong here? I think it's you guys broke it down. It's the point fighting style of Dalby versus the the power strikes, the more impact on the part of Muslim Salikhov, and he's not adverse to clinching up or grabbing a single leg and taking you down either. So 39 years old versus 38. I do think was it you, Guru, who mentioned it might be the speed advantage. I think certainly goes for Dalby. He's a much better mover and doesn't look as 38 as there's no way Salikhov is 39, dude. He's got to be 49 at least, man. Look at this guy. He's certainly pulling a fast one there.
Can we get the line on him falsifying his birth certificate?
That's Armin Tsarukyan numbers at this
That's
point.
Funny as fuck.
But yeah, so I'm letting the money line. I think this should be a 50-50 fight, dude. Like both guys have been finished recently, right? Li Jingliang knocked out Salikhov, who's been otherwise pretty durable. Dalby was club and subbed by Ronson. He was durable before that. But yeah, Salikhov. I mean, this guy is just getting some good matchups here, man. Andre Fiallo, who's a punching bag after round one. Li Jingliang knocked him out. Francisco Trinaldo before that, who's up a weight class basically than what he should be. Zaleski dos Santos before that, dude, that was a complete robbery of a decision as well. So yeah, I'm just letting the money line do the talking here. I think this should be a pick 'em for sure.
God damn it, you're right.
I'm putting a unit at plus 157 on Dalby. I think he gets it done by decision. It could be greasy. You're
right, and you're fucking right, and that's why I want to retract what I said. You can't play Muslim Salikhov minus 190. I'm not gonna do it. You're right.
I mean, we're at the point though where it's like, what fight could be his last? Which fight's gonna be his last?
You're right. I'm too salty about not liking Dalby, but I can't do it. What I do like, I didn't realize the fight goes the distance is minus 150. Let's go, baby. I'm in on that. I don't mind it at all.
Yeah. Unless Salikhov hits like the perfect spinning wheel kick, I mean, he was landing him on Andre Fiallo last time, but Andre Fiallo wasn't even moving or reacting to anything. It was really something. It was a spectacle to watch that guy just stand there like he was knocked out on the feet for a round.
It took some time to get there though too.
Yeah, I will say that the interesting part about Andre Fiallo is that if you're throwing anything that isn't boxing, like he has no idea that it exists. Like that dude is one of the most like headhuntery people I've ever seen. He just has zero awareness. So that was one of the reasons I was so heavy on Salikhov in that spot. And I think Dalby has a much better, a sloppy path, but a much better path than someone like Fiallo. But those 4 knockdowns that he's absorbed.
Yeah, I also like fight to be a split at plus 450.
Absolutely, I think that's gold. To be honest, two different styles of striking. Both guys probably not going to really push the issue on the other, and just kind of they're almost 40 years old at this point, winding down their career, going to go to decision, and the judges will have no idea. They won't even be watching this probably.
I like that. That's funny.
Fair enough. Well, hey, we got another banger here. We got
something, all right.
Yeah, we got Raoni Barcelos versus Miles El Chapo Johns.
No,
Raoni,
that's incorrect. It's just Chapo.
Chapo. Oh, sorry.
And Raoni doesn't have a nickname. So what's his TV nickname?
Ronnie, stop. Barcelos.
No, don't do that again.
What, no Jersey Shore references?
You might have to sit this one out after that.
Ronnie, stop. Guru, stop.
Beautiful.
I just told you not to do that again. That's crazy.
I could see that guy being a big Jersey Shore fan too.
Who? TV? Absolutely.
No. Raoni Barcelos from the favelas of Brazil. Just
my God.
In 2010, just going wild watching Jersey Shore.
We need to have Alex Bahunin do his humanizing athletes and figure out if that's his favorite job.
Get to the bottom of this. All right. Before I think we already went off the rails. I'll try to steer the cart back. But so Barcelos here is minus 215, coming off a flatlining by Umar Nurmagomedov, coming off. I mean, Trevin Jones fight, he looks great. Victor Henry. I mean, if Raoni Barcelos was anywhere near the level of Rafael Assunção or at his max efforts, I mean, you would think he would have been able to handle all that is Victor Henry, but there's definitely been and then the Timur Valiev fight, that was also just a sketchy decision overall. I feel like that could have been a draw, right? 10-8 Barcelos round 2, and then you give Valiev round 1, round 3. I think Barcelos might have gotten robbed on that not being a draw. He knocks him down twice, is just absolutely tooling him until the bell. But Barcelos here, I mean, he's facing a guy on Miles Chapo Johns that we've seen him take a step up in competition and just show that he's not really at that level time and time again. When he does take that step up, he's low volume. And even when he doesn't take the step up, like against Vince Morales in his last fight, I mean, he does like the absolute least to come away with the decision victory. Great. You got back on the winning track, but I mean, I think that Honey Barcelos has at least the ability of a sexy Mexi Castaneda, at least the ability of Mario Bautista. And we might not get a finish here like we did see from those other two guys, but I will take the pick on Barcelos. But coming off of being knocked out cold for the first time in his career, you're telling me that you're laying minus 215 on Honey Barcelos at 36 years old in this economy? I'm not making Miles Johns my pick. I'm not even going to bet Miles Johns at plus 185. But the guy is at Fortis. Thank you, Anthony. Shout out. Shout out Shady. Can you trust Barcelos' chin? No, I can. Not a minus 215. If they, for some reason, gave us a terrible opener, like we got like a evens fight, yeah, you have to take Barcelos in that spot. But I'm going to go ahead and sit out and pass as far as that goes. But also, who has Barcelos really finished recently? I mean, is this not just like a fight goes the distance, like Barcelos afraid to engage because he just got flatlined? Chapo just kind of afraid to engage because that's his general style of only throwing 9 strikes per minute at distance. I think both these guys are going to be on the defensive side. Both of them have great striking distance defense numbers. I think we get a boring fight here. I think that honestly, what is this really over 1.5 plus 135?
I fucked it up.
Fuck. Okay, so what's the actual line? Before
the over 2.5 is minus 165, and the under 2.5 is plus 135. Fight goes the distance is minus 135.
Minus 135. I think that we got a little bit of value there.
I don't know if you can trust either guy's chin, though. I really don't like this fight from a betting perspective at all. Like you said, I think the best handicap of this fight, you already said, is John Honey Barcelos should be able to John Castaneda Miles Johns in every capacity. Like, it should just be a repeat of that. Like, there should be no difference. That's why they make these matchups. They're like, can Miles Johns do something about it this time? Has he addressed that issue yet? I'm not convinced personally. So fuck that. I'll pick his Ronnie unless I see something weird at weigh-ins. They're gonna be the same size is kind of interesting. Makes me just feel like the line is off on Honey, and you may just have to take a dog shot just at the money, like quarter unit type dog. Like because the line is off, right? Has to be. Miles Johns is 7 years younger, and they're the same size. I don't know. Not that I like it, but I feel like
losing Honey Barcelos is always breaking our hearts, man. He's a community-loved fighter just because of his skill set. I think he's got an amazing skill set. It's just he got in the game kind of late, and now he's lost 3 of his last 4. Not a good look, but some high-level guys overall. But, man, some of these guys he's making look like they're having their best performances against him lately. So that's not great. But Miles Johns, like you guys said, man, this guy is like a wrestle boxer, but he's kind of dropped the wrestling part of that game plan. And now he's just pumping the jab out every now and then. And I do like that he comes alive late in a fight sometimes if he's able to capitalize on somebody slowing down. He's got some third-round finishes, and I do like that aspect of it. But, dude, Honey Barcelos' striking is so advanced. It's so advanced, so comprehensively sound. And he can wrestle too, so if he wants to throw that in here in this matchup, he could do that. That wasn't on the table against Umar. Probably would led to that knockout in some capacity, right? So I'm taking Honey Barcelos, and look at this closing line value, dude. Minus 214 I got on Honey Barcelos compared to that minus 215. Closing line value.
You're unbelievable.
Unreal. I sniped the line, baby. I sniped it. No, I did miss out. I saw some minus 175s last week, but I hadn't researched it yet. Yeah, so I'm just paying that price, 2.14 units to win 1. Just getting a far better fighter in all arenas of mixed martial arts. But there is going to be sometimes what I'll do is I'll have if all hell breaks loose round robin of just long shot props. I think Miles Johns could get the knockout here on an aged Barcelos. That's plus 500. So I might pop in a few shekels on that in a long shot round robin.
I kind of like a round 3 decision prop on Miles Johns, which they're going to open up on FanDuel.
I wonder what that is.
My guess it'll be if he's plus 185, it's going to be in the realm of plus 400 or 500. It's going to be up there. And, again, like you're kind of saying, if you're going to chin Barcelos, I think it comes late. I don't think it comes I think we're making maybe a little too much of the Umar Nurmagomedov knockout. The dude is a fucking stud. He's going to fight Corey Sandhagen.
He's only been knocked down one time, and that one time he actually got put to sleep.
And mathematically, he was expected to get finished that way, right?
Exactly. I mean,
come on. Like he performed according to what his money line was that night.
Yeah. I mean, dude was a fucking like minus 1,000 fate. Like it was the fight was a complete fix. It was fucked up. I couldn't even believe he took the fight.
I wonder if fight ends in round 3 because I can see Barcelos actually pouring it on late on Miles Johns too as he slows down.
Yeah, because his cardio is not great either.
Or they're just so tired that neither of them can finish each other.
I do like Fortis though, and I'm telling you, and it's something that Pat, it's something you had said earlier, and it took me off. Maybe it was Muslim Salikhov, or the other fight you said was like basically 50-50. This fight is way closer than this. It just is. Probably. It has to be. It really
just going off with the record of how Barcelos has kind of regressed.
And how can you pay minus 215? I'm sorry, you did. How can you though?
Minus 214. That's what I paid, buddy.
Better. Okay, so how could you pay 214? Is okay, but how could you pay minus 215 on a guy that's lost 3 out of his last 4? It's just tough.
I would just chalk it up to they were a little bit higher level in certain.
Timur Valiev though, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
Not in the UFC at the moment.
Wrestle. This is my gripe with Barcelos though, because if you were to make a fighter that was like a perfect MMA fighter, you'd give him all of the credentials that Barcelos has. But his problem is he never pivots off of when he's losing, like getting teed off on by Victor Henry, and then he's not going to wrestle until it's far too late in round 3. Stuff like that. Like he doesn't really pivot off. He's too confident in every area, even when he's losing. But I just don't see that happening against Miles Johns here. So. We'll see, man. I do like that Miles Johns plus 500 as like a counter if things go wrong here. I like that quite a bit.
Never mind this. I never mind a little snipe hedge.
Yeah.
Like I love figuring out which the win conditions really are, man. It can really help you figure it all out.
Yeah, I mean, just looking when you just take the distance striking for each of these guys. It's clear if this fight takes place from distance without a knockout that Barcelos should be racking up the volume.
Racking it up. Talk about a fucking line, man. What is happening in this next fight?
Got Jimmy the Brick Flick versus Alessandro Nono Costa. We got plus 220 Flick. We got minus 260 Costa. Sheesh. Flick is actually a bit bigger. He's going 3-inch height advantage.
Flick is fucking huge. Flick is huge. He's 5'7". For a flyweight, that's insane. I mean, he was smaller than Charles Johnson, but Charles Johnson is also fucking huge.
Yeah, Costa. I mean, listen, both these guys come in with a few knockouts, should I say, on the Flick side. I don't think either guy is super live for like an early knockout, but if there was someone that was, I would definitely lean the Costa side. I think Costa had a pretty solid showing. I mean, he was kind of a punching bag, but he had a solid enough showing against Albazi on super short notice, guy that we see in the top 5 at this point. Getting finished in the way he did was absolutely filthy, but Jimmy Flick doesn't offer any of those threats in that regard. So the real question is, can Jimmy Flick capitalize on a head kick, a moment, take you to the grappling realm and find a finish? Jimmy Flick has never knocked anybody out, and that's funny. Costa's never been finished by submission, and he in fact has 6 submissions on his own side. I lean for this fight. One of these guys should knock out the other. Costa is probably the guy that knocks out Jimmy Flick, but there's no way you pay minus 260 for Alessandro Costa in this economy. I'm sorry. You seriously need to go checked out by a professional. If that's the move you're making, you're taking a guy that's 0-1 in the UFC.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, you're not being really fair, are you?
No.
You're not being fair. He fought Amir Albazi, and he also won on Dana White Contender Series, but he didn't get the contract because he was salty that night. So
right, but I mean, Jimmy Flick, he's got a few fancy finishes on his record. He used
but
to be the minus Flick, 200 favorite.
What?
Jimmy Flick used to be the guy that would come in as a gigantic favorite. I bought against Durden. He was a huge favorite. He ends up looking terrible.
He was a slight favorite at minus 150. And how does he look terrible when he submits him in round 1? Are you good right now?
Yeah, yes, because Durden is
can't
the
look
one teeing
terrible
off
when you
on him
get a
until he
finish on it.
jumps
Doesn't
for a
ma-
flying
doesn't
triangle after
matter.
getting
He got the
pummeled
round
the
one
entire
finish.
round.
You're making no sense here. I don't know.
So you think Flick has finishing capabilities here, or no?
I mean, he always has finishing capabilities in the fact that he's a submission grappler. Like, that's his finishing equity. But no, I don't. I think Costa's BJJ is really good, like fairly good. Like, I don't think he's submitting him here. I think Costa's a really solid striker. I think his striking underrated, and I think he could very well, just kind of touch Jimmy up to a decision. I That's kind of why I like the over 2.5 at plus 185. I think that's a total, like, that's a fucked up line because how often do flyweights honest? I mean, yeah, these specific flyweights finish often. Jimmy Flick's only been to literally only been to 3 decisions, and Costa only been to 4. But after watching Costa's fight on Dana White Contender Series, and like you're saying, is Jimmy Flick, as you saw versus Charles Johnson, he's going to continue to shoot takedowns and go to grapple at all costs, no matter what. And unless you put and let's be also real about that stoppage, it was a weak one. He was still okay. To me, I wasn't like sold that he was totally cooked. I don't think Charles separated him from consciousness.
No, he just wasn't intelligently defending.
No, it was gonna happen sooner rather than later. To your point, like it was coming if it wasn't then. So I get it. I just I don't know that Costa necessarily does that. So I kind of like the over here, but you can't play Costa in this economy.
Yeah, my only issue with the over, and I had Aaron the dog from, if you know, he's got a YouTube channel. He's on Twitter. We had a good discourse about this one because I wanted to play Costa inside the distance at minus 120. Haven't done it yet. I still might put like a unit on that just because the cardio is the big difference, in my opinion, for this matchup. Like, Jimmy Flick is a true specialist, and he's a powerful athlete, but that manifests itself in like the submission attempt in round 1. After that, dude, there's so many instances where that guy is just gassed by the time he's got to get off the stool in round 2. He looks genuinely shocked that he's got to come out for another 5 minutes. And, I've seen him finish like immediately. There's a couple of fights where he's been finished immediately. Like the bell rings for round 2 and he's already just like, he doesn't even take center. He just gets finished. So that's kind of what happened towards the end of round 1 against Charles Johnson. Coming back after that, like premature retirement doesn't really bode well mentally or anything for him in this fight. I don't think Costa is minus 260 worthy at all. You guys are totally right on that. I mean, he's not that good, but he's got cardio, and that's going to be a huge difference. I do like that minus 120. But, yeah, if Jimmy Flick could just threaten submissions the whole time of this fight, he could definitely burn time off the clock, and he could cash that over. But I don't want to play that game with Jimmy Flick, dude. Like, if you're on the Flick side, plus 400 or whatever it is for him by submission, probably the way to go. He's finished 14 out of 16 fights that way. But I like Costa. I like him inside the distance, probably by a knockout in round 2. Minus 120 on the inside the distance is probably how I'm going to play it.
I don't mind any of that at all. You're right, Flick. I really.
It's just if it wasn't for the trash cardio, that's the issue I have.
Yeah.
So
that does make me a little sketched out. I'm maybe if you can get a good line on fight to start round 3 instead of the over 2.5, I might like that at plus money instead. Mm-hmm. Shave me a little 2.5 minutes there.
Yeah, but, I mean, you're not gonna get me arguing about a flyweight fight going over. I do like those.
And spots, at that, I feel like I'm just trying to pay attention to these lines a little bit more, and the fact that like it's really just about the odds of this might like if this line is fucking wrong, like for flyweights, like you kind of have to take a shot,
especially for a fight that might play out grappling. We know how much time burns off the clock a little bit faster,
especially if the guy's not going to get a sub because they're both really good.
Right. What kind of subs is Costa getting again? I'm totally forgetting. Is he getting just simple arm bars on low level guys, or what's he doing? I'm getting him mixed up with arm bar, flying arm bar, rear naked choke early on in his career. I mean,
tons of arm bars.
He's a well-rounded guy for sure, and defensively he looks okay. But it's his cardio I do like. That's the big difference in this fight.
Yeah, the thing about the cardio Problem. I mean, I don't know. He does have good cardio. I just like when you look at his split the last time he went to decision, which was that Contender Series fight. I mean, he had good cardio because he didn't throw anything.
Yeah, that was a bad one. That was a bad look. And that's part of why I'm like, there's no way you can. That's a very good example of why you can't pay minus 250 on him.
Yeah. If we included Dana White Contender Series stats in our algorithm here, in our stats, I mean, his pace stats would they'd probably be like cut in half.
Right.
So anyway, I think we've said enough about this crazy fight.
Was that the one? That was the week. Was that the week that actually caused Dana White to go on that giant rant about?
Yeah,
like,
and
you
didn't
guys need
he
to be
didn't
like
sign
Joe
our boy
Biden?
Dennis Suzuki.
That was the same night. Costa started that night off.
Costa started the night.
Yeah.
Costa started the night. That was the problem. That was it was the first week of Dana White Contender Series, and that was the first fight, and it was so bad. They threw like 4 strikes in the first round.
Muy mal. We got Kang. Was it Mr. Perfect, right? Versus Christian Quiñónez. Problema. Yeah, this fight, it could be a problem. If Kang is able to mix in his 37% control rate, put together some pressure, it could get real sketchy for Quiñónez here. We got plus 135 on Kang, minus 155 Quiñónez. But I think from a technical standpoint on the feet, I mean, Quiñónez, watching some of these other prospects coming into the UFC, their defensive tendencies aren't quite the same level as their offensive throw, 3-punch, 4-punch combos in the pocket and hope for the best from your chin standpoint. I think Quiñónez actually does a great job, working off the back foot, keeping his distance, using his hands to parry, head movement. I think Quiñónez should be safe should this fight stay on the feet. And I don't think Kang has any real finishing potential should this hit the mat. I know he's the bigger fighter, but he's not necessarily super filled out.
Mm-mm.
And I think Quiñónez looked a weight class bigger than his last opponent, Khalid Taha. It's not going to be the case here, but from what Kang has in height, I think Quiñónez is going to make up for it in size. And I really do think that for the most part, this fight goes the distance. The over 2.5 and minus 190, juice as fuck. No need to touch that aspect, but Quiñónez at minus 155 could be a nice little hindsight thing. Kang can't just kind of sit on the outside and play like he did with the Nabakari, who's much more willing to just kind of swing wild and miss and have no real context to his game. I think Quiñónez actually has a pretty mature stand-up game.
100%. Quiñónez is going to have the speed advantage. He's going to have the pace advantage. He has the age advantage. He doesn't have the size advantage, but Kang is not somebody that uses his size to his advantage. He doesn't fight at range. That's not his style. So, if he wants to win this fight, he needs to fucking grapple and he needs to do a lot of it. And, I'm not sure that this young scrappy guy is just going to sit on bottom and get taken down a bunch. I just don't know where the volume is going to come from Kang. He's somebody that just lost to Ronnie Yaya a couple fights ago. You know what I mean? So, in beating Dinar Bakary, going to war with Bakary, getting outlanded by Bakary is not. I'm not so that doesn't sell me on anything. Honestly, it really doesn't. And if you looked at his whole UFC run there, it's just not that impressive. And then you look at Kang, unable to take down Bakary, doesn't want to take down Ronnie Yaya, so doesn't. He gets busy getting taken down and does nothing with it. And then, the Piang Louis fight, which is fucking crazy. That fucking insane fight, if nobody's ever seen that. He goes 3 of 7, 3 of 6 versus Brandon Davis, who's a kickboxer no longer in the UFC. I'm just not really sold on it. Taking down Alex Caceres 5 of 9 times in 10 years ago means nothing to me. Nothing at all. So, I do like Quiñónez here. I like him minus 155. I kind of like I know that the book says it too with the decision. I think I kind of like that. And I may like a round 3 decision Quiñónez prop. Maybe get a little bit of that finishing equity just in case. But it should take some time. Kang is tough.
Yeah, you guys are restoring a lot of faith in Quiñónez for me. I do like him. I think he's a really good prospect coming in. He had he had at least one 5-round bout to know in UWC where he showed a very good game plan. You know, good striking diversity, mixed up the targets well, damaging leg kicks that night as well. And his takedown defense has been a work in progress, and it's been looking pretty good coming in. And it might get tested here. That's usually how Kyung-Ho Kang fights, as a submission fighter. But we haven't seen that part of his game in a couple of fights, right? He had that striking battle with Danat Batgarel, which is one of his better performances we've seen, even at 35 years old. But Danat tends to fade as the fight goes on, and he took a lot of damage. Both of his eyes were swollen up. So pretty impressive stuff from Kyung-Ho Kang. But before that, the Ronnie Yaya loss, not looking so good. And then, yeah, you mentioned it, Guru. Like, his whole career, he started off as one of these guys back in the day that was like opening up that emerging Japanese market, Korean market. He's only fought in the United States out of his career like 5 times in total, which is crazy for a 10-year UFC run. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd take the younger guy here, the guy who still has some stuff to prove to us, but I think he should cruise here with just probably even mixing in some offensive grappling of his own for Quiñónez. I think he could stay safe on top and rack up control.
Better than a round 3 decision. I want Quiñónez an over 1.5 on DraftKings whenever they open that up. That's what I want.
Yeah, Kang is durable. He's only been finished like once by knockout, once by submission. Both were like 12 and more years ago. But he hasn't fought a lot of like power punchers. I could see Quiñónez putting him out, but probably not the most likely outcome of this fight.
Yeah, love it.
I agree. So
TV, I have nothing to say about you. You take all the love on this one, baby. You go. You get this one. Right. You saucy boy.
Oh, baby. All right. So we got, I don't even have nicknames here in my notes. Whatever. It doesn't matter. We got Carlos Hernandez versus Denise Bondar. What is it? The monster? Psycho? Yeah, Psycho. Psycho Monster Bondar. I think only one guy in this fight has any finishing equity. Only one person. His name is Psycho. Bondar earlier in the week, plus 110, sniped. Bam. Easy enough. I think facing a guy like Malcolm Gordon, when you're not a prolific finisher with like one punch knockout power on the feet, it could be dangerous if you take him into the grappling waters early in the fight. And Malcolm Gordon came out kind of like house on fire in that matchup. Denise Bondar has shown that he has offensive wrestling. He's willing to go into it when things get sketchy. I think Malcolm Gordon is a better athlete than Carlos Hernandez, and Malcolm Gordon has shown in his career he's a better finisher. Carlos Hernandez, 8-2. Generally, these guys come to the UFC, they got all these finishes, and then they finally start getting decisions. This guy's like 4 subs and 4 decisions on the regional scene. And when you watch him in these grappling sequences and you watch him on the feet, I really don't see a lot of danger. In the same way as when I watch Bondar on tape, a lot more aggression, a lot more physicality. I know Hernandez is going to be a little bit taller here, but Bondar is going to have a significant 2-inch reach advantage to make up for the 2-inch height disadvantage. And I thought at the plus money number, it just made too much sense to take a stab. Minus 130. I think Bondar should just be the winner in this fight. I think he's getting a chance to kind of get things right here after facing, he faced the glass chin of Malcolm Gordon, but putting him up against such a dangerous grappler in his first UFC fight, it definitely could have been someone with a little bit less grappling prowess, and we could have seen.
He broke his fucking arm, man. His arm was completely shattered. I don't even understand how that fucking happened. I don't know if.
Well, it was the submission attempt from bottom. It's him going for like an arm bar, and Bondar, he's able to like pass guard, get around it, but ultimately, as Gordon gets him back up against the cage and he goes to post up again. I thought
it was more of a freak injury than Gordon did it, but maybe I missed it.
I don't know, man. Gordon had him in some real sketchy positions with that elbow.
Because he's a tiny little flyweight dude, and his bones are made of glass. He needs to do some curls and go up to heavyweight. That's his problem.
Drink some milk.
Drink some milk. Get that muscle milk. Yeah, listen, we both have a unit on Denise Bondar plus 110, a line that is absolutely unavailable on all books at this moment. So we're content with that. I think you can also play Bondar by sub because I think that'll be cute when that line opens up. It should be a little saucy. Hernandez just subbed by Alan Nascimento, who we saw get exposed by Dan Hooker. Dude really can't strike. So then you watch the guy, and Hernandez also, barely beat.
Chill, bro. You're thinking of the wrong person.
I'm
That
sorry.
was not Puey. You're thinking of Pueyes.
Oh fuck, you're right.
Yeah,
Alan
chill.
Nascimento lost to who though? He just lost, didn't he?
I mean,
Hadley. He beat
I thought he beat
Hadley.
Hadley.
He beat Hadley. He beat this.
He lost to
Hernandez.
Ulanbekov. I was thinking of fucking. That's so funny. I was thinking of Pueyes. That's just Pueyes. How can I forget Claudio Pueyes?
You're like Alan Nascimento, butt scooting around like an idiot.
No. That's not the right guy. No, but Alan Nascimento, unbelievable grappler. Submitted him. Much more. He trains with Charles Oliveira, much better striker than Claudio Pueyes. Sorry, Alan, and thank you, TB, for correcting me. And then the way he barely beat, if he even beat Victor Altamirano, I'm still kind of salty. I wasn't really sure that he did, and it's all decision, like you said. There's no finishing equity in it, so I really just don't. He has to outpoint him to some sort of sketchy decision, and Bondar's decent enough, man. He's dangerous. So, what do you think, Pat?
You said 1 unit plus 110.
Mr. Bondar, correct.
Very nice. I got 1 unit at plus 102, so I missed out a little bit with your guys' fancy plus 110s, but still on that plus money side. I didn't expect this. Like within 18 hours, man, after placing that bet, that skyrocketed to minus 130. It was crazy. But yeah, everything you guys said is valid in my eyes. Hernandez has good striking weapons, way better than Bondar at distance, but he needs that distance to really get it off effectively. Hernandez is a guy who, if he gets pressured, he can be even more hesitant than he already is to let big combinations fly. And I think Bondar is going to be in his face pressuring. So unless Hernandez really could just stick out, measure the distance with kicks and perfect jabs and things like that and keep Bondar off of him, I think that's a tough test. So give me Bondar here to just get in his face, take this fight to the mat. I'd say by round 2, he gets that sub. So that's the final call for this one. But yeah, Bondar, man, he's certainly the more dangerous guy. 16 wins, all 16 inside the distance, really slick back take. I like him a lot here, so there's still a lot to learn. It's not something I would invest heavily in or max bet or anything. Bondar, we still got to learn about this guy. He didn't look great in the few seconds we saw against Malcolm Gordon. Not a big sample size of time in the cage, but he got picked off by a solid 1-2 from Gordon, pretty crisp, and then threatened with a submission. He had to break his own arm off to get out of. So, yeah, give me Bondar here. Still, I mean, Hernandez looks like a guy to me, maybe just in the face, but also with his skill set. He looks like a guy that you would assume is 22, 23, and still has plenty of rapid improvement to make. But he's the same age as Bondar. He's 29, so. It's go time for him, but I don't think it's going to happen against a grappler.
Good job, TB. Well said.
I like it.
Yeah, awesome. Seriously, great breakdown. I mean, I agree with you. Love when we end up on the same side, especially with a sharp guy like you, man. Hey, and you got that plus money too, baby.
Plus money side, baby. Let's go.
We love it.
Let's go. Love some collaboration. And now we come down to a fun fight here. We got Zalgas, ZZ Top, Zhumagulov.
Nope. Zanko.
Nope. The Beatles.
Ned's declassified school survivor guy, Coconut Head.
Versus a Filipino, Felipe Bunes. The question is he buns or not? Coming in. Oh my. Making his debut. We've got losses to 3 Evs or Ovs, the combination off in the regional scene, ACA. He was kind of fed to the dogs as the Brazilian guy.
Fed to the dogs. Promotion. Yeah, bro. Fed to the dogs, all decisions. Yep. Come on, baby. Are we sure? Ain't no judges working there? Anyway,
then you get Jussier Formiga saying, hey, man, I don't think I can make 125. So they agree for 135. And then Jussier Formiga's like, hey, man, I don't think I can make 135. Comes in 139 and gets a second-round submission as a longtime UFC veteran who, honestly, I mean, he fought all the title contenders. So can I give Bunes, is he buns just for getting subbed by Jussier? I can't make 135 Formiga.
No,
I mean, might be. I can't fully say.
I
The
don't
dude,
think so.
listen, when he gets in the pocket, the way he kind of throws his combos is a little sloppy. I'll put it out there. I think, he could be a little bit cleaner on the defensive end. I think he's very much let's just hope my chin does what it's supposed to type of dude when it comes to striking. I think he kind of pulls off some shit that like the Horiuchi fight, he hit him in the exact perfect spot, but it didn't even look like that big of a shot. I'm gonna be honest. I've seen some real knockouts before, and Horiuchi, I'm like, bro, what the fuck, man? I thought you were supposed to be like a fucking warrior, dude, based on some of his other fights. And that was that was a little bit sketchy.
I just think the overall pace from Bunes. The overall the overall pace from Bunes is going to be really tough for Zhalgas. I think his overall just scrappiness, his willingness to go into the clinch, his willingness to control against the cage, his explosive strikes in general, just all he does a ton of spinning attacks, which can put him in a bad position if like he did versus Formiga. That's how he got taken down. Zhalgas could do something with it, but Zhalgas just looks slow and old, man. I've just never been impressed with what I've seen from him. He's a guy that, to me, when I watched his regional tape, I felt like he had lost a fight against Ali Bagatonov to get into the UFC. I wasn't even sure he won that fight. So then you come in, lose 5 of 6, still somehow have a fucking contract, and now you're the favorite? Get the no thanks. I'll take my dog shot on Bunes, bonus, and I'll look like an idiot. That's fine. But I don't think Zhalgas gets it done. Fuck that.
Trains with a good team.
Yeah.
He does.
He does.
Yeah, and better than that, he finished out, if you look on Instagram, just at the end of May, he finished off his training camp at Fight Ready as well, Bunes.
Oh, baby. All right, so plus 140, Bunes. You got to take it. You
got it, right?
Opposite side of this one, man. I'm taking a shot on Zhalgas, man. I'm taking a shot on Patty Zhalgas over here, man. I just think Bunes, he's a guy kind of like the last fight with Hernandez, where it's if I watch his tape and I look at it and I don't know what the stats are, I would assume this is a guy who's in his early to mid 20s, still trying to make improvements. But he's 33, not that much younger than Zhalgas, and that's concerning to me. He leaves a lot of lulls in the pace of his fight too, where he'll throw something crazy, a spinning attack, a big punch, and if it lands or doesn't land, there's a lot of space where he recharges, and that's to give up volume to a guy like Zhalgas, who will be the most experienced guy he's fought, outside of a couple of guys he's lost to, and probably one of the better wrestlers he's fought as well. And we saw how that went over in ACA. Some of those fights were competitive decisions, but overall, those Russians do love when the Brazilians come over and are keen to be put on their back and try to throw up submissions and things like that. So I think Zhalgas' striking is going to just be on a different level. Body work, better combinations. He can mix up and probably get the takedowns against Bunes as well and rack up control time there. As long as Zhalgas doesn't just go strike for strike like he normally does and then cage stall, leading to another split decision that he probably will lose, that would be my issue with this fight. And that's probably, it's a good chance that happens. We've seen it time and time again. Zhalgas is 1-5 in the UFC, but you could give him the Paiva fight. You could give him Charles Johnson, who's very close, sketchy. You could give him the Jeff Molina fight, very close, sketchy. So I'm banking on him one more time. If he just has a little bit of aggression, a little bit of frustration for how his career has gone, that's all I need in this spot. I got him at minus 150. Just put 1.5 units to win 1 on Zhalgas. But hey, man, I don't hate anybody taking the dog, because we've seen kind of what the ceiling might be for Zhalgas, where he kind of falls, how he fights to the level of his opposition so far, and it's not been going well for him. So I don't hate anybody taking that dog shot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly not recommending betting the farm, but I think it's just one of those ones where I think Zhalgas is just going to come up a little bit short. Just one more time, man.
Yeah, and Dirty Reg in the live chat is also... Yeah, Dirty Reg is on it too. He is a little bit somehow small for flyweight too. Zhalgas is always getting outsized and that literally coming up short with his reach a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, that size is major. And like I've said a couple times, but now I'll use it the other way. Felipe is somebody that does use his range very well and will use it. And in a small cage might just create too much damage before Zhalgas can really get going in any way that he wants.
What's fight goes to split in a Zalgas fight? Is that chalk? Is that like minus 110?
Right? Yeah. I don't know. Is the line posted yet? I don't think so.
Filipino.
I can't wait to bet that if we get a chance to. That would be genius.
Yeah, that's
no lines at all. We have really no lines at all. What the fuck is DraftKings doing right now? Nobody has any lines up.
It really is kind of fucked how they're letting us. They used to have everything posted like by Showtime Wednesday. It's consistently like barely the main event up on Wednesday now. It's crazy. Yeah, definitely letting down the team on their end. I'll tell you that. But I think it's safe for us to mosey on down to the fight that the people have been hankering for all night, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
hankering.
Yeah, we got Teresa Ronda Bleda versus Gabrielle Gabby Fernandez. Two of like the worst possible nicknames you could have in the sport, quite frankly. Just laziness all around. Laziness. I'm sorry.
That's funny.
Terrible. But Bleda, she comes in with some of the worst cardio you've ever seen from a 21-year-old on a consistent basis. Gabby comes in with some of the worst technical takedown defense you've ever seen from a 29-year-old. She uses brute strength. She doesn't know what an underhook is. And she's just kind of like, I'm going to just kind of post up on the fence and try to do my best to like push your head away with my forearm. If she uses the same level of takedown defense that she showed against Jazz Davicius, she was able to kind of like stay up on her feet, but like Bleda should be getting into those positions and getting those takedowns. I just don't understand. You got someone in Gabby that could strike. If this fight does end up taking place at distance for any stretch where Bleda's not looking so hot, I mean, could we see it again? Could we see the mythical round 2, round 3 here? Is Gabby going to potentially have a shot? If it stays on the feet, I mean, her striking is clean. I just don't trust. I think her takedown defense is that bad that taking Bleda by submission when the line drops is kind of what you need to do.
Bro, I'm telling you, it is that bad, and it's unfortunate because you're a little overpriced, and you can't parlay Bleda, but you could probably play her by decision. Bleda's gonna wrestle fuck her. She's just gonna shoot for it. And Fernandez is somebody that was even taken down on the regional scene. It was really bad. It has consistently had this issue. Showed it in the last fight. And listen, Jazz Davicius getting absolutely no credit 2 fights in a row, man. She's fucking good. Plus 200 dog tickets, cashed on them both times. Or I mean, she was a plus 100 versus.
I was gonna say chill on both times. It was like plus
we
105.
Plus 100. We got plus 105 on her for last time versus Gabby, and plus whatever 220 this time on her versus Miranda Maverick. But Bleda, I just think gets it done. Fernandez has a problem, and I don't think she doesn't have much power, so she's gonna have to, take care of Bleda. Bleda losing to Natalia Silva in round 3. She keeps coming. How good is Natalia Silva? Well, you're going to see because she's going to beat the piss out of Andrea Lee, apparently, as that fight got announced today. So, yeah, I like Bleda here, but I understand in this economy. But that's all these fights tonight. So,
yeah, quite a few, man. This is Gabriela Fernandez is such a good striker, dude. Like it's night and day on the feet here. But it's also night and day, with Bleda taking the fight wherever she wants and landing those takedowns. The only thing that I like on this fight is, I mean, you guys did nail Bleda by decision. I could see that happening, but I like that juicy Gabriela Fernandez, like round 2, round 3 KO. If we can find a prop on that or just play them both separately, just as a long shot, dude. Why not? I mean, it's just, I'm telling you, when this is on the feet, Fernandez could do dirty, disgusting things to Bleda. Her striking is so good. She cuts angles so well, and she's got that power to actually
kind of
knock
dirty,
women
disgusting
out.
Things.
Dude, filthy, disgusting. It's the only women's fight on the card, dude. They got to go all the way.
Goodness. I actually don't want to see that from either of them, but I feel you.
You prude.
Teresa Zombie Girl Bleda.
Yeah, but I think Bleda wins this fight. I just can't get behind her at the number because her gas tank isn't that great either. That could lead to a late finish for Fernandez if she can survive. But yeah, man, we saw Fernandez, on the regional scene. You mentioned it. She got taken down a few times. We didn't see a whole lot of data on that. But now it's like it's a done deal. Like Jasudavicius is good, but yeah, Fernandes. I think TB you pointed out like just like fundamental skills. She can't really stop herself from getting out muscled on the cage and ripped to the ground. So that's a problem here. So I can't wait to play Fernandes in a future fight where she's got like another striker, you know, or somebody that's not got that wrestling game plan, but not in this spot.
No, I agree.
Oh yeah. So
Let's get it.
we move along. We got Dan Argueta, the determined Argueta versus Ronnie the Heat Lawrence. Both middle nickname guys.
We love those middle nicknames.
They both got the in their nickname too, so this is a good matchup.
Now you sound like Sadiq Yusuf.
Listen, we're bringing the scientific breakdowns here too. So we got plus 160 Dan Argueta and minus 190 for Jimmy Butler in the Heat, Ronnie Lawrence. Listen, man, I think earlier in the week when we had Ronnie Lawrence at minus 150, not saying I put the bet, but when the line was Ronnie Lawrence minus 150, I had some interest. Minus 190, not as much interest. I think Argueta is a bit scrambly. So I think fighting in his actual weight class definitely helps him. And Ronnie Lawrence, I think the mystique kind of wore off after the Kakhramonov fight. But I think his real talent falls kind of in between the Kakhramonov fight and all those other fights that led up to it, like the Mana Martinez, Vince Cachero, or the other, on the Contender Series, Jose Johnson or whatever. So I think all this control time, all these takedown attempts, I don't think he's like Merab in that sense. I think he has a real tough weight cut. He doesn't have the best cardio, and things can get real sketchy if you get down around 3. So I don't really trust minus 190 Lawrence, but at the same time, I think him by decision is probably going to end up being like the SAT, the best answer at the end of the day. I don't think he's finishing anybody here. So I'll take Lawrence by decision as my official pick.
Yeah, Lawrence, you got to hold off on this till weigh-ins. I think you're right in terms of the weight cut for Lawrence, but all of Dan Argueta's stats are fake. He fights Nick Aguirre, who was cut from the UFC because he was that poor, and he fight up a weight class against Damon Jackson. He gets controlled the whole time, so all the stats are basically useless. And now he's really going to get his first official fight here in Ronnie Lawrence, and Dan doesn't necessarily do well when he's the one being controlled, and that's not just from the Damon Jackson fight, you know? So he can be super wild, keeps his hands low, can get hit plenty too, and Ronnie has got a good pace as well. So we'll see what it's like for Dan when he's got a decent fighter actually coming back at him. And let's be real, Kakhramonov was a real talent. I heard that he's not in the UFC anymore because he was, I guess, being a jerk or something. So upset somebody on the staff was disrespectful maybe. And honestly, seeing from how he kind of carries himself on Twitter, I could believe it. So that's why he's not in the UFC anymore. But too bad because he seemed like a talent. But I like Lawrence here, but I don't blame you being a little spooked. But at some point we gotta muster up some bets somehow. So I like Lawrence and maybe the over 1.5. That sounds cute. Pat, what do you like?
I like Ronnie Lawrence here. I got him at minus 155, just 1.55 units to win one. Nothing too crazy invested on it, but this price now, I think this is like where I would line the fight, so not a lot of extra value on it. Two wrestlers. I mean, Dan Argueta is the better wrestler with a collegiate background, but he certainly fights like a stocky collegiate wrestler, right? Like his striking is very, it's a big work in progress, looping strikes. Nothing too straight or textbook, and his defense is not that great either. So that's not great. I think Ronnie Lawrence has a huge striking advantage, just way more weapons and way more. He's an MMA wrestler. He can blend those skills a lot better. So as long as Dan Argueta doesn't get like massive amounts of top control on him for the majority of 2 rounds, I think Ronnie Lawrence should do pretty well. Keeping this on the feet early and then slowly sprinkling in that takedown threat in round 2, round 3. As Argueta fades would probably be like the best way to play it for him. But Lawrence can crack too. We haven't seen Argueta. Oh, you guys mentioned I made note of that because I totally forgot pre-tape of that Ronnie Lawrence has that weight cutting question mark next to him, right? Getting down to bantamweight. Sometimes he looks like trash, and even when he does look like trash, he mentions in the post-fight interview how tough the weight cut was all the time. So Dan Argueta is another guy kind of the same way. He's fought more than half of his fights at featherweight or catchweights. So both guys probably need to be seen on the scale. But I took Ronnie Lawrence pre-flop. Just the experience. The Kakramanov fight, like it's a mark against him and a big loss. But the Kakramanov is really good. So you're right. He probably falls somewhere in between Kakramanov and wherever Argueta is here. But I think it's enough of a difference in skill set where I'll take Lawrence with my money.
Yeah, I like it, and I think you can still get him on Bet365 minus 175, so that's somewhere in the middle of 150 and 190. So I kind of like that. I really like what you said, Pat, about him being being able to really mix in the skills better. I think you're 100% right about that. Argueta is a little bit more clunky, especially with the striking, and I like how you mentioned, because again, Argueta is so buff, like he has a tough weight cut himself. So now I watch the Mets throw the ball away into the outfield. Fucking jerk-offs.
All right, so
you guys bet on other sports besides mixed martial arts, or is just your betting action on this?
Football is probably our favorite other than MMA, but I'll dabble in some baseball and whatever basketball he tells me to.
Oh yeah,
and a couple. Well, I'm a fan of all sports, really. So what about you?
I don't know the rules to football or basketball or hockey. I don't even. I'm that deep into mixed martial arts, like lifetime. I don't even know how to any of those things work. I got to ask my girlfriend when she's watching football or basketball. I got to ask her what the hell is happening. I have no idea.
Did they just steal home?
Oh God,
what am I watching?
All right, Guru's lost. That's it. It's just as bad as the fight between Zach Pauga and Modestas Bukauskas will be. To be quite frank with you, I'm so shocked that they chose these two guys to open up the main card. We've got Zach, I can't finish a ham sandwich, Pauga versus Modestas, the Baltic gladiator. Obviously not the Spartan, because he's not doing anything cool in the octagon. The Michailidis knockout was like the most BS thing ever. Like, they opened the cage door to let people in.
Yeah.
And Michailidis after the round was like taking half a second to just be like, all right, I just got elbowed in the head a bunch of times, but like,
let me lean against the cage.
I'm gonna lean against the cage and then get up.
Wasn't Michailidis like trying to rally for a point deduction? He was doing like a good old what's her face? He was doing like a Mandy Baum real fast, and then they opened up the cage door and he TKO'd himself.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, it was really, honestly, that was the least impressive knockout I've ever seen in my life, I think.
Or was it the most impressive, the most iconic?
Definitely most.
They should put that on Modestas' like highlight reel of like his best accomplishments. They just show him walking away and Michailidis is falling out of the cage.
It's like Austin Thud Hubbard.
For some reason, I had like $2 on Modestas by knockout and was like so happy.
No, that's actually, I forgot all about that Michailidis thing, dude. That's so fun. That's one of the funnier blunders of all time. You know, when you go to the live UFC shows and they have the Who montage at the beginning with all the epic moments, they need to put just like the slow motion of Michailidis falling on his ass.
100%.
They did that to someone last week also. Someone, like, after the fight, they opened the door on by accident when they were just knocked out. But they had already called the fight before that.
Oh yeah, I forgot. What fight was that?
I forgot which one. I was a little saucy. I'll put it out there. But so
this fight is gonna be ridiculously bleh. Modestas is somebody that I thought he really beat Pedro when I watched it live. I rewatched that fight. That fight was way too close, man. Look at those stats. He literally, he gets outlanded by Pedro and out-controlled. And the optics still look like he kind of won, but like, bro, I mean, all those strikes were mostly landed by Pedro in the first round. That's really why. But, man, he just didn't look good. Pedro was apparently having diarrhea and had absolutely no cardio and was still controlling Modestas against the cage in round 2 and 3 for a little while there. Very concerning, because that's all Pauga wants to do. He can't. I don't even know if he knows how to fight. I don't know if he can wrestle. I don't know what he's doing, but he did not finish Jordan Wright. So he's not finishing Modestas Bukauskas. He's gonna try to hold him against the cage. And Modestas is gonna be like Bull and Matador. I just don't know that he can. Modestas doesn't maintain range well enough. He doesn't get off the cage well enough. I do think he should win, because he should just be able to at least throw a couple strikes and have some cardio and have his dad yelling at him in his corner. You gotta fight, Modestas, and making him known that he's got to go get it done. I like this fight to go the distance. So do the books. I don't really like this fight at all. It's like a smoke break to start the card. My goodness.
Listen, Zach Paunga's got more control than Tyson Pedro's bladder after a Friday night bender.
After a fight, Jesus Christ.
But Zach Paunga, I think is just he's gonna pull the Jordan Wright method. The crowd's gonna be booing the whole time. It's gonna be the worst vibes.
What crowd?
Exactly. It's going to be the worst vibes ever. They're not
the
going to have a crowd.
The ring girls are booing.
Isn't that how he survived the Jordan Wright fight, by doing that, because there was no crowd to like boo and get the ref to separate them, right? I mean, so I'll take Paunga as the underdog here, plus 165. It's disgusting, but sometimes you just need to do the heroic thing, you know? What do you got here, Pat?
Dude, I feel like you might be on the right side of this one. I like Bukauskas. I think he's better than how he's been perceived. He's still only 29 years old. He's actually like a big-sized light heavyweight here too. Was he like 6'4", 6'3", long reach? Pauga, dude, this guy could still probably cut down to 185. Let's be real. The guy's a little fluffy. You could definitely just sit in the sauna for a couple more hours overnight and cut down to 185, but not going to happen at 33 years old at this. Isn't he like 35? 33, 35, one of these two. He's up there.
He's 33.
33. Yeah, so look, no major changes. And it's always that mix of the yin and yang at light heavyweight and heavyweight, where it's like you want the guy to have the cardio to go 3 rounds and not be front loaded, but when you have no finishing equity at all, then that's a problem. And that's where we're at with Zach Pauga. So I could see Bukauskas winning this inside the distance, sniping him off with a big rear cross, or just doing the better work over time to win to the decision. But yeah, this is did you say Modestas is coached by his dad too?
Yeah, man.
I didn't know that. One of these iconic daddy's boys that are in the cage.
So Jintis Combat, his dad's name is Jintis. And he's got his own
Jintis. He needs Devin Clark's dad. He needs Wonderboy Thompson's dad. He needs dig up Abdulmanap, throw him in the corner.
And then you also need Chris Weidman's dad. That's still my boy.
Yeah, look who's walking again. That's my boy.
Dude, he's fighting Brad Tavares. What a bad matchup.
Goodness.
Yeah, he needs everybody's dad. He needs everybody's dad micromanaging him to win this fight. But this is I think Bukauskas should win. I think he's a better mover here overall too.
Listen, if you're a black belt in a striking system named after your father, I'm gonna have to start asking questions as to the legitimacy of he's a black belt.
Dude, maybe in like 20 years. Maybe his dad was a real hard ass.
Yeah. But yeah, I just minus 195 Modestas in this economy. You got to be fucking kidding me. I'm way too broke.
Yeah, that's the overall point here. Is it's dog or pass if anything.
Honey,
oof.
That's a honey.
Oof.
All right, so love all you guys in the chat. Want to give a big time shout out. Amazing guest, Patrick. Addicted to Combat. In the description of this video, make sure you guys go ahead, subscribe to his channel. If you haven't done so already, we appreciate you guys stopping by. Honestly, it wouldn't be the same without you guys in the chat, making us laugh, always supporting us. And it's a reason that we want to show up and make sure that we make this happen on a weekly basis, because you guys are the best. We love this so much. And, we appreciate you. And Pat, you got any last words here? Oh, Guru,
the pick just dropped. The pick just dropped. Boys.
That's cashing. The bet is cashing.
Look at those abs.
Oh man, he's been doing some P90X, dude. He's ripped. He's ready to go. He's been making use of time since UFC 288. Just doing
John
sit-ups.
Lennon from the grave.
Oh, chill, man. That fucked me up.
Just doing sit-ups and moisturizing his hair with some solid conditioner from Kazakhstan.
So fucking absurd. Yeah, I mean, I got to get some of that. He's got that horse hair.
Yeah, man.
Crazy.
Oh, but yeah, for those of you who don't know me, man, my name is Patrick. I run a channel called Addicted to Combat. Go ahead and follow me there. I do full card breakdowns on Monday or Tuesday. It's my solo show. I go deep into the fights and give my bets so far at that point. Usually Wednesday night, I'll have a rotating live stream guest, and we'll go with the props that have dropped and just have a good old time as well. My guest next week, the beautiful Guru and TB will be joining me there next week on Wednesday. So check that out. And I drop all of my best bets and props and all of my betting action recommended plays usually on Thursday or Friday. So that's what I'm all about, man. Just love mixed martial arts and would love you guys to, I can't wait for you guys to hop on my show next week. We can do it all over again for Jacksonville.
Can't fucking wait, man. That card's going to be unbelievable with a live crowd, nearly pay-per-view level stuff. So I'm super excited for that. Thanks so much for joining us, man. I can't believe we haven't had you before, but we'll certainly have you again. If you're not following Patrick at Addicted to Combat, you're making a mistake. Go over there, subscribe on YouTube since you're already there watching us. Might as well. Follow my awesome co-host, TB Scouting MMA, Twitter Verdict, Instagram, and Tapology. You got your boy Guru Scouting MMA, Twitter Verdict, Instagram, and Tapology. Next week, UFC Jacksonville. Got a nice guest lined up, so make sure you're here. And take care. Let's cash these bets.
Cheers.